Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to show you how I made this cable knit beanie following a video tutorial from The Hooked. So this will be my first attempt at doing a cable knit project, and I'm kind of excited. I quite like the look of the cable. I think it's a really classic knitting design or pattern, whatever you call it. And I'm doing one modification to the pattern as well. So the initial pattern just has plain ribbing, just like one layer. I'm actually going to do a double up and do a folded brim on mine, so you'll see that coming up as well. So for this project, I'm going to be using this cream yarn, which I actually brought off Temu. It's actually the same yarn that I'm using in another project of mine, which is a sweater. I got a little bit crazy when I was buying the yarn initially, and I just picked up multiple colors before deciding whether or not I actually liked the yarn or what I was going to do with the yarn. Yeah, anyways, it came in a 4-pack, and it was $11.40 for the 4-pack, so each 100-gram ball comes to $2.85 Australian. It's a softish yarn. It's the tiniest bit scratchy. It's meant to be 80% wool, 20% polyester. I'll be knitting on 4.5mm circulars, and I have these cable needle thingies that you need. I feel like you could just use like another needle, but it may end up just like being in the way, and you'll risk dropping stitches if you don't have the curly needle, the cabling needle. Either way, just make sure whatever the needle you are using is a similar size to the ones that you're knitting your project with. Also, off Temu, I've got these faux fur pom-poms. They come in a big pack of mixed colors for a few bucks, and I got these pom-pom buttons too, so you can easily take the pom-pom off, swap the colors, or just go pom-pom-less. So in terms of skill level, the video does say it's easy, but the pattern online says it's for intermediate level, so we'll see on that one. So this beanie is knitted from the bottom up in the round, and you start off with the ribbing, which is where I did my modification. So I basically just knitted double the length of the ribbing, and then later attached it on the folded in half and attached it on the inside. But once you've done your ribbing section, you then move into the cabling, and then you do a couple repeats of that cable pattern, and then you start working in some decreases to shape the crown. To be honest, I just followed the video tutorial for the whole thing, but you do need to look at the pattern page for the gauge, and therefore you can work out how many stitches to cast on. I was a little bit confused when I was looking at the pattern and the cast on stitches, because it doesn't seem like the math adds up. It seems like based on the gauge that the beanie brim is going to be like massive. However, just trust in the pattern. I feel like for this you can totally wing the sizing. So if you are using like a yarn that's totally different to what's specified, and you already know how many stitches you need from like a prior project or something like that, like for your circumference of your head, as long as your cast on stitches is divisible by 8, because the cable pattern is like an 8-stitch repeat, I think you'd be fine to totally wing this and just follow the tutorial online. Now this video is just a simple like follow me on my journey of making this beanie, knit along, join in, do whatever. It is not a tutorial. That shall be linked below for you. And whilst you are down there, do leave a comment. Let me know if you are planning on making this particular beanie or any other cable projects you may be working on, because I love some of your ideas. And whilst you are down there, make sure to hit that like button if you do enjoy watching this video throughout. Otherwise, let's get into making this beanie. Okay, so here's my tiny little gauge swatch that I've done that is not really giving a super accurate measurement, but close enough's near enough. I'm also making another project using this yarn at the moment, so kind of based on that and this gauge swatch, I'm fairly confident that I won't need as many stitches as stated in the pattern. So I'm going to go with that smaller size, which was the 3 to 6 month old band size. And then in terms of the height, I think once I get going and see how much length you get with one cable pattern, I will be able to determine kind of how long I want to go until we start doing some decreases and finishing off the hat. So we're definitely winging this one, but I'm going to undo this little gauge swatch and we're going to start again. I also did this on, I think, 4.5 millimeters. I'm going to also do smaller needle size for the ribbing on the band, and I'm going to do a double band as well. So basically I'm just going to double up the ribbing and then I'm going to connect it on the inside. So let's get going. So 4.5s will be for the main bit, so I'm just going to go down maybe one size to the 4 millimeters for the ribbing. And you got this so tiny. And if this ribbing doesn't look right after a couple rounds, then I can just start again. Why waste yarn? Okay, now we're going to see if we can get this cast on tail right. So how many was I doing again? 104 stitches. So 25. So that's about 25. So I want twice that length, which would be about there. Give myself a little bit extra and let's cast on. Ooh, actually, I might just grab some stitch markers before we start. Stitch markers, so I can just place these every like 20 stitches. It just makes counting easier when you start. So don't lose count. Right. Did I do this the right way around? I feel like I didn't do that the right way around. So I want this tail facing me. Let's go. And one to join. Ooh. Boom. Probably a little bit too short a tail, but anyways, we got there. Okay. So now I'm just going to make sure we're all facing inwards. And we can join this up. Okay. Beginning of round is going to be the bright colored one. And now I'm just going to do 2x2 rib or 1x1 rib. What did they say? Knit 2, purl 2. Okay, so that was knit 2, so we're going to purl 2. Did I muck that up already? Oh my god. Okay. They already made a mistake here. That's knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, and then I just did that the wrong way around. At least this time I noticed straight away, unlike my jumper that I'm working on at the moment. Just going to try very carefully to get them back on my needle. Here we are. And go again. Oops, wrong way around. Awesome. So I'm going to keep doing that round, and then I'll come back once we've got some length. But basically I'm just going to knit twice as much as what they specify in the pattern, so that I can fold my brim over. But I got to concentrate for these first couple rows and make sure I don't muck up my ribbing. We'll see. Okay, so change of plans. I am going to size up in this. This does fit my head perfectly fine as is, but the ribbing is stretched out to like its maximum kind of circumference, which looks fine, but I kind of prefer the more bunched up look of the ribbing. So I want it to kind of look similar to how it looks on the needles now when it's actually on my head. So a little bit more scrunched in. So I'm actually going to unravel this, and we're going to cast on more stitches and start again. So I'm going to go for the teen size, which should hopefully give me this kind of appearance when on the head where the ribs are a little bit closer. I might also weave in some elastic thread, because I do have some other thread, even like this one. It's quite like elasticy, just to make that stay scrunched up on the head when wearing it. I'm just going to do it in the ribbing band, not in the entire hat. The other alternative is I do have some thicker elastic on its way. I could possibly just weave that in on the brim seam to keep it snug on the head. So that's what I'm tossing up at the moment, but either way I am going to recast on. So we shall say goodbye to all that work. Okay, so I finished doing all my ribbing. So this is double the length what we want, because we're basically going to fold this up and knit it together, but on the inside. So it'll be like that thick, super plushy. But what I need to do, I'm just going to line up my ribbing. And just see if I can, don't know if this is the best solution. I don't have any other pins. I'm just going to use a stitch marker to kind of hold this kind of in place. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to stitch these guys together. So this would have been better to do a provisional cast on. To be honest, I saw something about it before I started, and then I completely forgot that I was going to change my technique and try provisional cast on, because that would have left like little open loops instead of having to knit into this kind of chain edge. But I think it's kind of working. It might be a bit of a messy row. See? So sticking together now, creating this nice loop. I'm going to keep Struggle City doing this. And we'll see how we go. All right, so that's the brim done. So you can see where I've just kind of like joined it all together. This section here I feel like it's the neatest, and this bit here where I've threaded in like ends and stuff like that, it's a bit like chunky and lumpy, but that will be on the inside so you won't even see it. From the outside, again, this bit looks a little bit messy, but the other side, it's looking all right. Looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is continue with the pattern. So I'm going to switch my needles because I did go down to just 0.5 millimeter on these ones. So we have to knit 6, purl 2 to end of round. And then we have to repeat that 7 rounds. Okay. It's pretty basic. So I've got 1, 2. And then 6 again. 1, 4, 5, 6. We're a bit tight on this first round. Panel 2. And that's 6. See, I've done something wrong every now and then where I've got like a double stitch here on the needles. I don't know how I've managed that. I'm just going to treat it as one stitch. If I can get my needles into it. Keep picking up threads. Yeah. And just hopefully that's not super obvious later. Okay, so I've done the first few rows, which are just the same repeat, it's just a wider rib, you can see. So now we're up to our first cable. I need to change my yarn over. There is a knot in this one, I didn't realize, but I'm almost out, so I'm just going to change it.
And we're ready for the cable round. So grab your cable needle and slide the first 3 stitches onto it. And make sure you're holding it to the front of the work. Then simply knit the next 3 stitches. We're working these out of order, right? We knit the last 3 first, and we're going to knit the first 3 last. That's going to give it the twist. So to do that, you'll need to knit the stitches on the cable needle, and there's a couple different ways of doing that, and I'll show you both. The first way I'll show you is to knit them right off the cable needle. This is typically what I do myself because it saves an extra step. Just make sure your stitches aren't going to fall off the back needle, and slide the stitches from the cable needle down so they're in a workable position and knit them. So that completes our cable. That is the only thing to knitting cables. We've got a really simple repeat, and we have a row where we knit things out of order.
Okay, so those decreases took me ages. And to be honest, I don't love how these little slipped stitches look. It looks kind of messy. I'm not sure how to improve my technique, and I mucked one up here too. So I had a lot of trouble with the slip knit, and it keeps sliding off my needles, and then this particular yarn just like unravels a little bit, gets fluffy, and makes it really hard to like re-pick up stitches neatly. So that's going to annoy me, but I don't think it's super noticeable from a distance. So we're now up to our next round of decreases, which is just within the purl and knit rows. Final rounds. I'm so excited to have this done, but like these decreases just took so long. It was so fiddly. Yeah. To do a decrease, and then so the next round, this round we're doubling, joining the purls together. Next round we join the knits together, and then I think we bind off after that or close it off. Cool, I'm pretty happy with that. These are kind of already woven in as I went, but let's just quickly move these bad boys into. There we are. She's complete. I'm just going to add a pom-pom. I think this is the right colour. Buttons. I've got these buttons online so that you can just remove them. Let's, oops. I'm going to go, oops. Carefully through the center of my butthole there. And then these ones have little elastic somewhere there. Let's see if I can get that to pull through. Nice. I think you just do it like that. That doesn't seem right? It doesn't seem that secure. I'll pull it through this thing. And then hook it around. Ta-da! Now you can change that pom-pom whenever you want. It's nice and secure. Oh my god, I'm so stoked. How good is that? That cabling just looks so nice. All right, and here is the finished piece. Like, I am just so impressed with how this looks. Like, the cabling looks like it's going to be like super difficult to do. Like, how do you do these like twisted stitches, like craziness? But in reality, it's so easy. So easy. Like, if you are considering doing a cabling project, I highly recommend. It is easy to do. It looks so effective. I'm so impressed. I've impressed myself with this one, honestly. Like, it looks so good. And we've also got the double brim. They do it with a folded over brim. I don't know what the correct terminology actually is for that. But it just makes this like edge, gives you that rounded edge and just a little bit extra like squishiness around the brim. So I'm really glad that I did that double brim. I feel like that just makes it a little bit more like nice than just having like the raw edge. And in terms of sizing, like I ended up going with the sheen sizing on the brim. To be honest, I feel like if I did the women's sizing, it would have been fine as well. It is a little bit snug at the moment, but I feel like with wear, it will stretch a bit and it's going to be like just perfect. And then for the length is, I did a woman's length, which I was tossing up between teen and women for the length. But then I just kind of like didn't count my repeats properly, and I was already at the woman's length when I was happy to start doing the decrease rounds. So that turned out to be perfect. It gives me just the right amount of like kind of puffiness at the top. Like, it's not too extreme, but it's like not like flat against my head type of thing. It's got like a nice little amount of puff there. So yeah, I'm super happy with how this turned out. I love it. I love the color. I think it looks really good with this color pom-pom too. It's just classic. So yeah, main new technique I learned there was like the cabling, and like I said, super duper easy. Or you actually end up doing, you're basically just actually doing like a very wide rib, and then each like twist bit is where you have to do the like cable with a separate cable needle. So it's nowhere near as time consuming or difficult as it looks. It's actually very straightforward. So it's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 rounds in this entire beanie that you have to do the like little needle thing. So it's actually incredibly easy and not that time consuming. The thing that I found a little bit difficult was the decreases at the top. So you can see where my decreases are, the slip knits, and I just feel like mine look like quite stretched and like kind of obvious. Like, I'm really not, I don't feel like they look that neat, and it kind of annoys me a little bit, but I feel like from a distance, like you would never know. And I also haven't blocked this yet, so maybe once I wash it, maybe they will like just calm down a little bit and look a little bit neater. I'm not sure, but as it is currently, I'm not that happy with them. I also found it quite difficult. I keep dropping stitches, and I don't know if it was just because of the needles I was using or my yarn or what, but I keep dropping stitches. So I've actually made a mistake somewhere around this first decrease round where I picked up a stitch and I've mucked up my pattern a little bit, but you can't really tell. In fact, I think I just found it. It's right here. So you can see like this bit snakes up instead of tucking under like its friend next door. But minor mistake. I wasn't going to go back and try to fix it once I saw it. I just kind of kept going. Now, if I was to do this again, would I change anything? Probably not. To be honest, the only thing I would do or try differently would be to do a provisional cast on, which I thought about doing when I ripped back the first time and restarted. I was like, oh, I should try a provisional cast on because I saw that in some other video and it just looked like it was going to be a lot easier to join together. And like this, there's nothing wrong with how this looks. It's on the inside. I think it looks perfectly fine. It's a little chunky monkey there because that was my beginning of round. And I was weaving in my ends. So there's just a lot of bulk there. But like it looks perfectly fine. But next time I think I'll try the provisional cast on instead of just doing a normal cast on and then trying to like pick up the stitch because I wasn't sure if I was picking it up in the right place and it was a bit time consuming. But yeah, that's the only thing I'd probably change if I was to do it again. As for the pattern or the tutorial, like I found it very, very easy to follow, no issues there at all. Like I said before, I did have some concerns around the number of stitches for the cast on. However, trust the pattern. I feel like that's one of my key learnings in a lot of my projects so far is to just trust the pattern because it did seem like it was going to be way too big based on my calculations. And even when I started knitting it and tried it on, I was like, no, this is fine. But you know, once you keep going and because of the ribbon and stuff, it's just, I feel like there's a lot of stretch to it. So do just follow it. I think it's perfectly fine. You can totally just follow the tutorial for majority of this beanie. It's just really looking at the pattern to get your measurements for that cast on. The rest you can basically just follow what she does. The pattern did say intermediate, but I would definitely probably still put this in like a beginner category. I think if you've done a plain beanie before, you can 100% do a cable knit beanie, no problemo. You just need to know how to do your knits and purls, and then you've done a couple scarves or something like that, like you'll just have no problems. So this project took me a total of 24.5 hours to make. So I did that over a course of like 2 weeks to make this beanie. And I ended up using just under 2 balls of yarn. So that was just under 200 grams of yarn. So that was just under 200 grams for me, but I did do the double brim. So if you weren't doing such a thick brim, you wouldn't need as much yarn. And the total cost for this project ended up being $4.89. Bargain, absolute bargain. Again, just like you can't even buy a beanie like this one. I'm stoked with because I feel like a lot of the knit projects end up being quite expensive because the yarn is so expensive. But this is budget brand, like. So I think that's about it for this beanie. I do have a couple other videos coming up. I'm working on a sweater at the moment, so there will be some other knit along kind of these style vlog style knit with me, whatever we want to call them, videos coming up. So if you do like this kind of video, give us a thumbs up, but also do the like, subscribe, hit the notification buttons if you want to see kind of future knit alongs, knit with me's, knitting vlogs. What do we call these? I don't even know. But projects that I've done that hopefully inspire you to maybe make something too. You can totally do it. Otherwise, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and watching me make this beanie. Like I said, give us a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Oh, that traffic is so bad. Oh my gosh. Oh, I think I made that worse. Did I make that worse? Yeah, I did make that worse. Now, dropped a stitch. Oh my god, I dropped several stitches. It's not ideal. I've done something wrong there. Accidentally picked up 2. Oops. Oh my gosh, I've dropped too many stitches. This little crochet hook's making it worse. I just realized there is a knot in my yarn. My hands are so cold, I'm struggling today. That 1 or 2 stitches there, did I make a mistake? This is totally just the beanie butthole.